Over 250 figures, ladies and gentlemen, and still going and going. The TVC2 line. This is a sealed box, so let's see where it all began.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, Mando number 5, and I'm Keith Guppy. So welcome to episode number 30, part 1 of my figure focus line series, where I look at all the modern lines of Star Wars launched since 1995. And yes, we finally got there, TVC2, the biggest line that's been produced so far. So the TVC2 line launched in 2018 was obviously a resurrection of the original TVC1 line, and it was welcomed throughout the collecting community. So this line is massive. So far we've seen 31 waves for TVC2 and over 246 individually numbered VC figures, plus more pipelines to come. So this week we're going to do all the basic figures, we're going to do the deluxe figures, and then next week we'll do the vehicles, the army builders, and any other packs, including the HasLabs. So it's a packed episode, but we're obviously going to look at my top 10 figures, well, the top 10 most valuable figures. We're going to go through all the prices, and I'm going to tell you at the end how much you need to spend to complete this line and how much I need to spend to complete it myself. So as a special treat, I'm going to open this Wave 17 box, which is the first wave they launched in the TVC2 line. This is a sealed box, so let's see where it all began. So hopefully all of you watching probably know what the TVC line is all about. You know that this brings back the classic cardbacks of the original vintage line, and also covers all the other film, comics, series, books. In fact, I'll go through in a minute and show you, I think there are 30 different card fronts, or card backs, whatever you want to say, in the line, which is huge. Obviously, this is a classic Star Wars one, but you've also got, I think, 3 or 4 card back variations, which I'll just show you now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to get bogged down too much detail regarding the card backs. If you want to get into a lot more detail with someone who knows a lot more than me, then check out Only One Kenobi's YouTube channel. It's absolutely fantastic. But this is what I think we've got. I think we've got, in the TVC 2.0 line, 4 different card pack types. So initially you had 2 different card types for every figure. I'm not quite sure when he stopped, probably around about VC 140-ish, but you had the European card back, and then you had the North American card back. And then later on they changed to a 1 card back type, which covered worldwide basically, and even this one's got a Japanese or Chinese sticker on it for distribution in China. So there you had it. So you had, start with 2 of everything, then they went to 1, and then at VC 299 they then converted back to the TVC1 look of the card back, which is, in my opinion, much better than these boring ones, where you have the name pill color in the background, a really cool picture, and then there's a multi-language which covers all the versions, and you also had a few minor changes on the front. So as I said, to start with, you had the European version and the North America, United States versions. You can tell that by the languages on top. The main difference was on the fronts, you had a warning label on the North American versions, and you had the label inside the packaging for the European. Then later on, they went to this. So this covered all countries, and they had a label and the label on top. Then obviously they changed the different back, but that was the same, exactly the same card back front. One interesting point to make is with the Star Wars versions and the European versions, these are very much sought after, because obviously you can see on the old ones you get the on the North American you get this label that covers up the Star Wars logo. Now, for instance, Dr. Aphra in this version with no label is very, very sought after and fetches a lot of money. Even Chewbacca's a little bit more expensive, but nowhere near Dr. Aphra. So I hope that gives you a quick overview of the card backs. Now let's look at the card back fronts. As I said, there's about 30 of those. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. So, ladies and gentlemen, wow, what an effort that was. These are all the backing cards, fronts of the TVC2 line. I think there's about 30, which I'll just run through very quickly. But yeah, that's a hell of a lot of different card types. And as when I say card types, I mean the logos. And then you've got, obviously, the different nationality versions that were released, basically European and North America. So let's just run them down, shall we? And please shout if I've missed any. So you got Star Wars, The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One, Empire Strikes Back, Knights of the Old Republic, The Last Jedi, Ahsoka, Jedi Survivor. Then you've got the Ewok cartoon line, which is just 2 figures in a 2-pack. Attack of the Clones, the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm Clone Wars, which is a really nice line, one of my favourite lines. Then you've got the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, The Bad Batch, Rebels, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Galaxy of Heroes, Rebels. Sorry, we've got 2 Rebels. Cut back. Yep, there's Rebels there and the Rebels there. Then you've got the Clone Wars, Andor, The Mandalorian, with a cool picture of the ATST in the background. I really like that. Then you've got the Clone Wars 20th anniversary, Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary, the Book of Boba Fett, Death, Lies and Treachery version, which is the comic edition version. You've got the Carbonized set, and I think there was 6 or 7 of those. And you've got Battlefront, and finally you've got the Droid set, which is free. There is C3PO, R2D2, and Boba Fett. Yeah, wow. So, yeah, so 30 different card fronts, ladies and gentlemen, varying from punched and unpunched. So, you know, just a huge collection.
So here you are, ladies and gentlemen, a sealed Wave 17 from 2018, I believe. I hope so anyway. Never been opened, so let's have a look inside and see where it all began, shall we? Now I think this is the Wave 17, and it all started with Rey, as I said, VC number 16. So let's have a quick look. Hopefully I'm correct and it is the right figures. But yeah, so this is 6 years old, so 7 years old now, so you know, pretty old. And I can see straight away they are the European release figures. So I'll just lift them out as we go. So the first figure, VC16, and yeah, there's Rey, as you can see there. Now interestingly, the early figures, they were taped on the bubbles. I don't know if you can see that. It's really difficult to see. But yeah, they were taped on the bubbles. So we got VC16, the first figure. And then we've got Snook, which is VC21 in this pack. I'm sure we got some doubles in here, because that's how they came out. VC19, Jen Urso. We've got, and these are like minty fresh, really nice. First Order Stormtrooper VC18, 118 there. It packed in another VC 118 there. Then we had a Hoth soldier, Rebel soldier, VC 120, and these are absolutely mint. You know, really nice figures. They're straight out of the box. Like I said, haven't been touched. I really like that figure. That really brings you back to you know, the Empire Strikes Back, which is why I really like it. Then we got VC 117, Kylo Ren. Yeah, again, like I don't know if you can just see. You can see the tape. There we go. That's a better shot. You can see the tape on the early bubbles. They were taped. Certificate in the bottom, and there's the European Cardback, which, as I said earlier on, they changed then to a 1 Cardback type. Then you had another Supreme Leader Snook. So yeah, so how many figures is that? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 Snooks. two Rebel, First Order Stormtroopers, but really nice. And that obviously that's where it's all begun. Rey from Jakku figure. But yeah, there you go. So that's the first wave opened live, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get into my the most expensive 10 or 11 figures, and I've actually done a bit better this week. Obviously the TVC one for me is a bit of a disaster. It's got loads of holes in my collection, but TVC 2 I've got basically everything, and I've struck out really because I've actually got most of the top ones graded as well. So that's a bit of a result just by fortune and luck. Nothing more. But yeah, I mean, I really actually like the Solo film, and it's a bit controversial, but you know, I like the Enfys Nest figure. I love the background of it. A really cool figure. In like the snow landscape, it's really nice figure. VC125. It's not really, you know, sought after or anything like that, but I really like that. I also like the Minbound Stormtrooper with the soft goods cloak. A really cool looking figure. That nearly came in top level. That's probably worth about £30–35, but didn't quite reach it. Now, as you can see here, I am a sucker for Sith Troopers. I absolutely love them. They were free released. There were obviously the Sith Trooper, the Sith Jet Trooper, and then the Sith Trooper again. Now, interestingly, this is VC162A here, and that's VC162. These are all graded UKG U95, so they don't get any better than that. The Sith Jet Troopers, UKG U80, and then this Sith Trooper with the extra gear. You can see on the back there it's 162A, is UKG 90. But I absolutely love these red Troopers. I think they look cracking on the shelf and display, and I absolutely love them. And this one here with the extra guns, etc., is probably my favourite figure, believe it or not, out of the whole line. I reckon it's absolutely cool. Really nice figure. I'm also a bit of a sucker actually for all the bigger packed ones that you got. So you'd also got the Mandalorian with Child, and this one's probably only about 15–20 quid now to get it. It's quite common, but it's got the classic, you know, sun figure, which was really cool. And that was VC177. And then more recently, you've obviously had Cobb Vanth and the Mandalorian armor, which is a much bigger card, as you can see, than the normal cards, which is a bit odd, really. I know you get a bigger picture in, but I think they were doing fine with card backs like that, and just squeeze the picture in a little bit. So yeah, but that's really nice. That's VC343 there. So some of the ones I really like. Also hidden behind here is one of my favourites, and that is Darth Raven. There's two versions. Darth Raven Jedi Knight, which is really nice as well, but this is my favourite. This is Darth Raven, the Sith version from Knights of the Old Republic. Really nice. And behind him you can see I've got the Hot Toys version, and I think what I'd probably do is I might even unbox both of them and do a bit of a comparison, because they're so nice. I mean, look at the bright colours on that. Obviously the new version backing card with a red label on the back. Really nice. That one there's 30 or 40 quid now, going up. So again, he was just outside my top 11. So in terms of the top 10 or 11 of the TVC 2.0 line, they probably vary somewhere between £40 up to about £80. There's no massive standouts. A bit different obviously when you get to the HasLab pack-ins, but for the normal range of figures there's no standouts, unless you're talking about Dr. Aphra maybe with a Star Wars logo uncovered, or a few others. And you know, chuck some comments in, so if you can think of any that I've missed. But so at number, I think 11 is Han Solo and Stormtrooper. This is a gorgeous U95 UKG U95 version. To get one of those, you're probably talking about £40, and that's, like I said, VC143. So that's number 11. So number 10 is Elite Praetorian Guard. Again, I'm a sucker for red figures and red backgrounds. I love the background on this. This is the exclusive streaker version. No, I'm only joking. Unfortunately, somehow on mine, his skirt is lifted up in the bubble, and that's how he's been graded and done. So yeah, I mean, he's CS90, but I mean, I absolutely love that. And I should do a little short video on Praetorian Guards. I think there's probably 3-ish versions or 4 versions out there from all the modern collecting lines. As I said, CS90 from 2019, VC138. So that's number 10. Number 9, another favourite of mine and one of my favourite films, Rogue One. I watched it again the other night. I can't get enough of it, really. And Top Merit, the pack-in that came with the X-Wing. And this has really held its value. This one here is probably about 45, 50 pounds. A lot of the ones you see now are going to be about the same. So this is about 40 pounds. This is a UKG 90. I love that figure. A very popular figure. And that's VC 204. Then number 8. Another very popular figure, Rey. Really nice from Rise of Skywalker. Really nice figure. Again, I've got her graded CES 90. And that's VC 156. But a really nice figure. Again, probably looking at Rey, you're probably talking about £45. So not massive, but, you know, not bad. And then you've got a number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, number 7, you've got Han Solo Carbonite. The pack-in, it came in re-rees in the Jabba's Palace set. But a really, really nice figure. Really sought after now. And now that would probably cost you, again, about 45, 50 pounds. That figure. Then you've got 3 figures that came out in a triple pack. And they're all about 50 pounds. They're all the Jabba's denizens, whatever you call it. They're all on the 40th anniversary Return of Jedi cards, and they came in the free pack, action figure free pack, and they're really, really sought after. This is Velkin Taziri, so these are all featured on the skiffs, most of them. That's VC 288, and then is that the same price? Just about is. I'm going to struggle this one. Tame Dren Garen. Another one on the big sail barge. Pretty basic figures, but obviously the only iteration you can get in these in any of the TVC line, and probably in any of the modern collecting series. So everyone wants these for their Cantina Katona set. Sorry, the big sail barge. And then you've got the third one that came in a pack. You've got Tessic, Squid Face, whatever you want to call it. Again, about £50 for that one, and that follows on. That was TC 286. That one. But really, really cool card back on that, and a really cool figure as well. So there you go. So top 2. So the first one is number 2 is Bib Fortuna, the fat Bib Fortuna from the Boba Fett Book of Boba Fett, which comes with Jabba's or Boba Fett's palace. But yeah, it's a pack-in, obviously, and the pack-in. I mean, the set itself is probably worth £200-300, which is why the individual figures worth probably about £70 to £80 now. The Book of Boba Fett figure, but really sought after version, and that's number 2, VC 276. And then at number 1 is, yes, the Imperial Assault Tank Commander. I'm not sure whether these were a low pack-in or whatever, but these have always been expensive. This one's probably about £80 to get now. This is a graded UKG 90. So I imagine if you try to sell this graded, you probably want, I don't know, £160, £170 perhaps. I don't know. But a really, really cool figure. The driver also was a close to top 11 figures, and he's probably about £30 or £35, but the Tank Commander is a really premium price. I mean, I've seen it go over £100. I think in COVID it's probably going £140, but it's come back down and leveled out, so probably about £80. So that's my top 11 most expensive TVC 2.0 normal basic range of figures. Now, I'm not going to linger too long on the subject of reissues of original TVC1 figures into the TVC2 line. Now, today, I think there are about 43 of these, and these are very controversial. In fact, we've even got to the point now where they're re-releasing TVC2 from a few years ago till now. So, you know, we are in a world of re-releases. Now, there's two schools of thought on this, obviously. One is the people, the collectors who bought them originally, and now they're worth a lot of money. And then when the re-release comes along, those original prices drop. But what I've seen is they do slowly recover generally, and the true collectors want both of them, because you can see here, this is an example. I'm not going to bring out all the examples. This is Darth Maul. Now, Darth Maul originally came out like this, with his cloak on. You had the offer sticker, you had a lightsaber going across his body, you know, and the binoculars were there, and And what they've done almost 100% of the time, they've re-released the figure, but they've made some subtle changes. So you can clearly see the hood's not on, the lightsabers are down the side, so it is a different packing. But they generally keep the same image, which is a bit of a shame for me, because I just wish they changed the image, because, you know, I think you need to sort both people out, the original collectors and the new collectors. So you've got a 2012 original, and you've got a 2020 re-release of Darth Maul. Here is an example. In terms of the backs, they are different, completely different, because it's got a European sticker on it, etc. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the card stock, actually, I would say that the card stock from the TVC1 version is definitely thicker than TVC2 as well. But yeah, you go. I mean, it's a very controversial subject. I could talk for 20 minutes on it, but I'm not going to. Generally, the re-releases are worth about a tenner, if I'm honest with you. 10 to 15 quid tops, all the re-releases. And they probably take about, I don't know, 30-40% value off the original releases when they come out, and then they slowly recover. That's my experience anyway. But, you know, share your thoughts in the comments and on a very controversial subject. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you've got the HasLab packings. So the HasLab so far, as you know, have been the Katina, Jabba's Sail Barge. We've had the Razor Crest, and we've had the Ghost, and now we're going to get the Tatooine Cantina. So the first one that came out was the Yak Face on the Power of the Force card. Very sought after when it came out. It was going for $250 plus. It's got a real nice coin. Some of these have got what they call the Ring of Death on them, where there's a factory marker on them. This one hasn't. This is a UKG 90, and forget that loose would probably cost you about £150 currently. So they've settled down a little bit, like most of the HasLab packings do settle down after a while. So that's the Sail Barge packing. And then with the Razor Crest, you had two packings. You had Grogu, and obviously it says the Razor Crest of the Mandalorian. It had a silver pram, which was very different from the main release. And this is a UKG 95, which I got graded myself. So really nice high grade. These were all unpunched card backs. So really nice. And the backing of these was very much different. This has 001. Sorry, I didn't mention this, but the Yak Face was VC 000, and a very distinctive backing on the card. And then you had probably slightly more favourite, I like this one probably a little bit more than the Grogu, would be the Off-World Jawa Elder with the eggs, which is VC 002, no sorry, HAS 002, and you've got a picture on the back. So very distinctive backing cards on these. And this one's UKG 90, so pretty high grade again, but quite unique in terms of the eggs inside it. So that was those. And then with the Ghost, you've got these. The 4 packings with the Ghost. So just going back to Grogu and the Jawa, they'll probably cost you about £75. And these 4 packings here are probably currently floating around £70 to £90. You had Ezra Bridger, but these are really cool. and you've got every backing card's got the unique group of the rebels on the back, because you also have the 2-pack with Chopper and Sabine, but that I'll show you the double packs next week. So yeah, you had Ezra Bridger, you had Zeb, really cool figure, huge figure, really nice, and these were all HAS 006, so they've carried on from the Razor Crest numbers, which is quite nice to see. And then you've got Hera Syndulla, but really popular backing cards. And you've got, finally, you've got Kanan Jarrus with the 2 different head sculpts inside and his visor as well. Kanan Jarrus is probably the most expensive at the moment, probably going about 85. The rest are about 70-75 pounds. They haven't been out long, so the market is just settling down. And then obviously with Cantina, I think you get another 4 or 5 pack-ins that are coming out very well, and obviously next end of this year. So yeah, so the HasLab pack-ins are probably the highlight in terms of figures from the TVC2 line.
So in terms of variants, I'm not really aware of any. I know that this Princess Leia was brought out originally on the VC 150 card, as you can see there, and then later on it was brought out on the 164 card. Both of these are about 40-ish pounds. I don't think they're any rarer than each other, but that's really the only variants I'm really aware of. And so if you know of any others, please put them in the comments.
So within the main line of the TVC 2.0, they brought out a few little sublines. So this is one of them. This is the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm Cartoon Network series of 6 figures, and they're really distinctive, and they're really a real good throwback to the 2000 and I think it's 2005 series of figures, which were lacking a few Jedi, to be honest. But these are really cool, and anyone who hasn't watched the Cartoon Network Clone Wars series, it's a really great tie-in to the Battle of Coruscant. But with this series, you had the ARC Trooper, you had the Battle Droid, you had the ARC Trooper Captain, and these had some fantastic art on the back. Look at the artwork. They're really nice bit of artwork on the back of these, which is really cool. And then, as I mentioned, what they missed from the original line was any Jedi. So you obviously got pictures from the original Cartoon Network series, and then you had Barriss Offee, and you had Lumiere Underly, and they starred in the scene with Yoda when they were in the Crystal Temple, where they build the lightsabers. A really good scene, so you've got to watch this. And then they also had, probably my favourite, is Ayla Secura, and these, I love the Cartoon Network pictures on these. These are really nice. But there were a couple of other little sublines as well. So carry on the cartoon theme, I'm really thankful that they decided to release a few of the Ewoks and the Droids cartoon series. And those of you know that the original figures of these are very expensive, but they're great. They have the coins. So with the Ewoks, this is a 2-pack, by the way, which I'll go into a bit more next week. You have the Bronzes coins, and then you had 3 from the Droids series. But really cool. A real nice throwback. Lovely bit of cartoon artwork on these. Very popular. Really nice. And so the Ewoks ones were punched, and then unpunched. And then the Droids ones were punched. But yeah, the backs are pretty drab. It's got a bit of a timeline, which is quite interesting. And on the back of the Ewoks one, you've just got a picture of Wicket and Nisa. But really nice and popular series. Again, I just wish you'd do a few more, maybe. Let me know your thoughts. And then Hasbro decided to do the Carbonized series, which is a little bit like the Black series, well, very similar to the Black series, which had a much bigger line. There was 2 waves of these. I think probably about 7 or 8 figures in total, but these are my favourites. So the card stock is really thick on these, as you'd expect with Carbonite series. So a really nice card stock. It's got the classic sort of silver badge on the front, and then all the figures had like a tinge of sort of shininess on them. They're not that popular, honestly. Most of these are between £10 and £15 even now, and they quickly kind of moved away from this. So they're all from the Mandalorian, the 8 or 7 or 8 that they did. So you have the Shore Trooper, which is probably my favourite. The Incinerator Trooper, which is really cool on display with the obviously the flame effect in the back there. And then you had things like Moff Gideon. And it's quite hard to catch the light in these because they do shimmer quite a lot. And then you've got the Armourer as well, which has been a recent release with the new Armory pack. So yeah, so that's a few of the smaller lines within the main TVC 2.0 line. And then slightly controversially, and some people love these, some people really don't like these, they brought out, I think about a dozen deluxe packs. So where they had the figures and they had a bit of enhanced accessories or maybe a little creature inside. So as I said, I did about 12 of these. I think I'm missing Zeb Deluxe, the Paz Vizsla Deluxe, and possibly Luke and Grogu. So I've got most of them, just missing those 3. None of them are very expensive. You can get all of these for about between £15 and £25. So they're not that difficult to get a hold of. They are quite cool. Most of them have got the old offer sticker type label on them. I'll just quickly run through them for you. You've got the Dark Trooper with his sort of charging module or sort of home that he sits in, so you can put a load of these together, which is pretty cool. And on the back of all of these, they do show you all the accessories you get, the flame effects, the guns, etc, etc. So that's really quite cool, and that's one of my favourites because you can build that up and have a sort of line of those. That's really, really cool. And then you had things like Jango Fett, and this was controversial because people said, well, why don't you just really release the figure? He ain't got a lot really with him. He's just got some flames, which you could have got all this in a nice pack, like the Sith pack, 162A. You could have done something like that with that one in a bubble so you can see it. As like I said, these aren't popular with a lot of people. And then you've got the Imperial Stormtrooper with the tripod cannon, which is from the Navarro Cantina scene, so that would look nice with that little set you can get. And there it is on the back. So this is one that you get a bit of value for money because you get a nice E-web cannon with it, or tripod cannon, whatever you want to call it. So that's not, that's a bit of value to that one. And then this one you get the Incinerator Trooper and Grogu for the same scene. This is cool as well because you get a really nice flame effect where Grogu's sort of holding back the flame in the series. So that's pretty cool. And there it is there. So, some of these are okay. And then you've got Sabine Wren with a little cat thing. I can't remember what it's called now. You guys will know, I'm sure, watching. So she's got a bag and a couple of accessories. Again, I think one of the poorer ones. That one. And then you got Jango Fett from Tatooine. He's got removable armor, but I don't know. Why would you call that deluxe? Don't really know. So, it's got a couple. Okay, it's got a couple of Stormtrooper helmets in it, which is pretty cool. But I wouldn't necessarily say that was really deluxe. And then you've got Tanu with Grogu and a little sort of owl creature, and a little sort of lamp stand from the Mandalorian. And there it is. They're both are lightsabers, but compared with a Stormtrooper with an E-web cannon, it's not that great, really. Yeah, and this is probably why a lot of these aren't very expensive on the aftermarket. And then they produced 2 Chrysanthemums, which is a really cool figure. It's quite a chunky figure, but I wish they'd do it on a bubble, and they haven't yet. So there he is there with all these accessories. It's like knuckle dusters and stuff like that, optional hands and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And then they produced this one. I should research it properly, but I think this is an SDCC exclusive. So they produced him again, exactly the same figure again, but this time with extra bits. So he had Chewie type crossbow, a few more effects with him, a couple swords and stuff. So you can see the clear difference there on the back and what accessories you get and what you don't get. And that's in a really nice little box there that sort of opens out. So, and I quite like that. I mean, that's a chunky box with quite a few bits in it, so that's quite nice. That can be a bit more pricey. That can be 30, maybe £40 as well. But But the normal sets, again, is probably another £15-20 job. So there you go. So that's the deluxe sets. As I said, I'm going to do the 2 packs, army builders, and then work us up for the vehicles and creatures next week.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what does that give us in terms of a number for all the figures that I've gone through today? So, as I said earlier, there were 250 VC numbered figures to date. And I've taken us up to VC 361, but that will obviously soon change. So, if you look at recent eBay prices, you'd have to spend about £4,390, which gives you an average of about £17.56, which, if you work it out, is probably not much off of retail. So one thing I say about a TVC2 line, you're not going to make £1 million out of it, because, you know, overall the prices have probably stayed about the same. There's just those few, you know, 10 or 15 figures that have gone up a little bit and seem to be harder to get. So that's the basic figure line. Then you've got the re-release figures. I mean, there's about 43 of those, and the carbonized figures, which come to set 51. And to buy all those, I think you'd have to spend about a tenner each. They're not very expensive. So that means you've got to spend about £530. Then the deluxe figures, and there's 13 of those. I think you'd have to spend about £325, which gives you an average of about £25 each. And then finally, you've got the HasLab pack-ins, and there were 7 of those. And based on recent eBay sales, you'd have to spend about £590, which for each packing gives you about £84.28. So there you go. So episode 30, part 1. To get all those figures and the deluxe figures, and we'll do the rest next week, up to now, you'd have to spend £6,015. Yeah, now that number's going to get much, much bigger next week when we do the HasLabs and all the vehicles and the double packs, etc., the army builders. But for now, £6,015. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.